Hello, church. It's so good to be with you today, and I hope this finds you doing well. Just a quick shout out to Pastor Eric for getting us across the finish line with our series, Trading Truth for Lies. It has just been an amazing series as I think we've looked at the many, many different ways that the truth gets distorted, and then we can begin to buy into the lies of this world and the lies told by the great father of all lies, which is Satan. And so just a great job in this series. Just grateful for our preaching team. And I'm grateful to have been away this past weekend as I went to Atlanta to celebrate my birthday with my favorite little guy, Isaac. So thank you for your grace in allowing me to be away. So we find ourselves in Jude verse 4. But before I read that, I want to make this statement to you, and then I want to share something from Proverbs. Who has your ear? Who has your ear? Who do you allow to speak into your life? So listen to these two passages from Proverbs. The first one is 13, verse 20. It says, walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. And then in chapter 14 of Proverbs, verse 7, it says, stay away from a fool, for you will not find knowledge on their lips. The wisdom of the prudent is to give thought to their ways, but the folly of the fools is deception. There's this concept about keeping the company of fools. And so think about what we've done from a church preaching schedule over the last literally 4 or 5 months. We talked about who was in our war room. We've talked about how easily we trade truth for lies, biblical truth for the lies of this world. Think about all the ways that outside voices impact our life. And then hear what Jude has to say in verse 4. He says, for certain individuals whose condemnation was written about long ago have secretly slipped in among you. They are ungodly people who pervert the grace of our God into a license for immorality and deny Jesus Christ, our only sovereign Lord. It makes me think so often of the passage in Galatians when Paul says to the Galatians, he says, you were running a great race. Who cut in on you? Who cut in on you to cut you away and steer you away from following Jesus? So when I read this passage, I think about the first thing is that God knows who these people are from afar, from previous lives, like they have set their course of life into action. God's not surprised. Jude's not surprised when he says, listen, these are people whose condemnation was written about long ago, and they've secretly slipped in among you. Secretly. So they have an agenda. They want to distort the truth. They want to lead you down a path of unrighteousness. Right? So their agenda is to what? To disrupt and to cut off your relationship with Jesus. I love the way he puts this. He says these ungodly people who pervert the grace of God into a license for immorality. Listen, I think we've all known these people in our life who were friends of ours or people that have spoken into our life and tried to lead us astray or whatever that looks like. I know that in my own experience that having known people who were walking with Jesus, then all of a sudden they're not. And when you begin to dig into that with them, you will find at the core of that is one person who begin to have their ear and begin to speak into their life untruths about the direction they were going. And they just begin to slip away. It's a really sad set of circumstances when you think about it. So you have to be consciously aware. Here's part of what I want you to know. I wrote this line today. For a Christian, the influence train runs one way only. For a Christian, the influence train runs one way only. In other words, we are called to be an influence in someone else's life and not to make ourselves vulnerable to the influence of others. And to do that, you've got to be prayed up and you've got to be reading scriptures and you've got to be thinking about your walk with Jesus all the time. You have to be saying to yourself, are the people in my circle, my war room, the people who can speak into my life, are they people I can trust? Are they people that are leading me towards God or away from God? You know, what's interesting to me is rarely will you have a fellow church person, maybe it happens, but rarely, Your fellow church person is not going to invite you away from church on Sunday morning. The person who invites you away on Sunday morning is someone who is not interested in sharing what you have on Sunday morning, but they will tempt you with something that seems like I don't want to miss out on opportunity. And then you are lured away. Whereas we are called to be an influencer in that person's life and to say, hey, I'm happy to go golfing. I'm happy to go boating. I'm happy to do all those things. But after we go to church together. Do you see what I'm saying, church? I think part of what Jude is saying is you've got to be careful about who slips into your life. And it looks harmless and it looks innocent until you wake up one morning and you are so far from God you can't even see him from where you're standing. This is the trap. This is the pitfall. So church, Jude has a lot to say, man. He's going to keep hammering these points home about what righteousness and unrighteousness look like. And I hope this helps you set the course for your week. I love you so much. Thanks for being a part of our great church and sharing in this time together every week. Have a great day.